In an extraordinary day at Parliament, the rogue MP Jami-Lee Ross delivered a firestorm of a press conference resigning from the National Party and accusing its leader of corruption. Simon Bridges has rejected all claims of wrongdoing, saying the Botany MP is lashing out, lying and leaking. But now the police are being dragged into the matter. Mr Ross says he'll lodge a complaint with them tomorrow. Mr Bridges says bring it on. Here's our political reporter Craig McCulloch.
No one knew if Jami-Lee Ross would turn up today to Parliament, where the National Caucus was meeting to consider his expulsion after he was named as the source of the leak of Simon Bridges' travel expenses. But while the caucus was still huddled behind closed doors, the Botany MP, who says he drove to Wellington from Auckland overnight, suddenly appeared alone to front the waiting media. He announced he'd quit the National Party, quit Parliament, and he was doing his best to take Simon Bridges with him.
Simon is a flawed individual without a moral compass and without any underlying principles except power. I can no longer serve in a political party led by a corrupt politician.
In his sudden media conference, Mr Ross laid out a series of explosive allegations. He says in May, Simon Bridges asked him to break the law, telling him to hide a $100,000 donation from a wealthy businessman, Zhang Yukun, by splitting it up into smaller amounts. Jami-Lee Ross says he's going to the police tomorrow and taking with him a secret recording of a phone conversation with the national leader about the donation.
The leader of the National Party asked me to do something that was unlawful. I should have spoken up earlier. I should have said earlier this is wrong. I didn't. I was naive. I was following the instructions of the leader. I'm sorry for that.
This is a guy who's lying, who's leaking, who's had appalling behaviour and is now lashing out.
Simon Bridges denies any wrongdoing. He fronted the media after the caucus meeting, flanked by his deputy Paula Bennett and his three one-time leadership rivals, Judith Collins, Mark Mitchell and Amy Adams. But Mr Bridges also wouldn't answer any questions about that donation, saying he'll leave it to the police.
Jami-Lee Ross has made a bunch of allegations today about a bunch of things that are entirely baseless. He now needs to go to the police. That's where this should be. The police should thoroughly and promptly investigate it. It will result in nothing because I've done nothing wrong.
The bitter showdown between one-time friends comes after a sustained hunt to find who leaked Mr Bridges' travel expenses. An inquiry released yesterday was inconclusive, but said all evidence pointed towards Mr Ross. Mr Ross denies it. He says he's being forced out of the party because he's questioned and criticised Mr Bridges' leadership on the basis of his terrible internal polling.
My dramatic internal falling out with Simon Bridges is why I am now the target of a campaign to push me out.
And Mr Ross says that campaign ramped up several weeks ago, culminating in him taking health leave due to a mental breakdown. He says Mr Bridges ambushed him, accused him of harassing 4 separate unidentified women, but provided no details about the claims.
He told me if I kept asking for natural justice, that it would not be just 4 women, he could get 15 women. The changing nature of the story made me think it was a bluff, and a bluff being played out by some seriously unethical people who are so proud of their own importance they can't accept dissent.
There's serious matters there, but I'm not going to comment on those today.
Jami-Lee Ross says many others in National share his concerns about the leadership, but the MPs today unanimously voted to expel him, and Mark Mitchell is unsympathetic.
We're not going to miss him from caucus because of his behaviour. It's been deeply disloyal, actually not just to Simon but to the whole caucus and to the party, to our broader membership, so we're not going to miss him, no.
I'm drawing a line under Jami-Lee and moving on. I'm not wasting my time.
But the unfolding nightmare for Simon Bridges isn't going away quite so easily. Mr Ross's resignation will spark a by-election in Botany, and Mr Ross says he'll fight to stay on as an independent. That alone will keep the messy allegations in the spotlight for some time to come. Atu iti whare parimata mō te hōtaka o te ahiahi, ko Craig McCulloch.